Welcome to Easily Entertained. My name is Bryson Olson, and here we talk about the good aspects of entertainment. It's always a great time. A movie has kind of spawned in, not necessarily out of nowhere, but the fandom certainly has over the last week, because the movie's only been out like 8 days, I think, as of recording this episode. It's kind of crazy. We're talking about K-pop Demon Hunters, okay? A movie made by Sony Pictures, who brought you amazing hits like the Spider-Verse movies and Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs and Surf's Up. You know, they actually do got some bangers. You know, I didn't really think about it from Sony Animation, but, you know, I started to think a little bit. I was like, oh, wow. They don't always hit, but when they really let it loose, they do. Okay, and we'll be talking a little bit about that more in the video, but I really just want to talk about K-pop Demon Hunters because I was not expecting this movie to be really, like, I thought it was going to be fun. I saw the trailer and I liked the animation style, but I didn't really know how the movie was going to go. So I was so wrong, and it's great. So let's talk about it. Okay, so the story of K-pop Demon Hunters centers around this K-pop group called Huntrix. They are a group of this generation, so to speak, that is chosen to protect the world from demons, obviously, you know, kind of as the name in the movie implies. But the history of this movie and like kind of the lore in it is that there is a demon king known as Gima. He's a king of demons. He brings out everyone's insecurities, what they hate about themselves, and makes deals and turns them into his own personal demons and controls all of them. And he does that so that he can get the souls of more humans and just grow more and more powerful. But in the world of the universe, there rises some vocalists, some singers that, with the power of their music, they are able to create a magical barrier that keeps the demon world and the human world separated. And every generation has one group that is chosen to protect the world. Right now, in the modern world, it is a K-pop group known as Huntrix, containing the characters Mira, who is kind of like a little bit edgy. You have Zoe, who's their lyricist, and you have Rumi, who is the like front woman. She is like the lead singer for most of the songs, and she is what a lot of the hype is based around almost. And in this movie, she is the main character pretty much. Like, they kind of all are, but it focuses more on her specifically than the others. And also, a slight complaint that I do have about this movie, it's too short. Okay, and I'll talk about that hopefully in a little bit. But anyways, so they're chosen to protect, and they've been going on tour. They're an international pop group. Not everyone knows that they're fighting demons and stuff, but that is kind of the whole point of them being so good at singing, is so that they can get the power from their fans and win their hearts in order to create that magical barrier. So they went on tour and they were going to take a little hiatus, but then they go back into it just feeling good because they have something called the Hanmoon, and that's when the barrier is at its best and nothing can get through. Like, as the years go on and as a new generation arises, the barrier gets kind of weak until they're able to perform the Hanmoon, and it turns it gold, sealing it over. And they're trying to achieve this in the movie, and the reason they want to do it is just because they're trying to get further in, you know. They want to be able to lock it in so that they can have some time to just relax and feel good and not have to constantly fight demons all the time. And their plans run a little amok when the demons, specifically a demon named Genu, he recruits a bunch of other demons and goes to Gima and says, I think we can change how this is going to go. We start winning the hearts of their fans so that the power that Huntrix has isn't being used to protect the world, but instead it's being used to break down that barrier and allow Gima to have more souls to feed on, and to have all the demons feed on all of them and grow more power and everything. So they create a K-pop boy band known as the Saja Boys. And it's so funny when they come up, and let me tell you, their songs go hard, and we'll be talking about the music in a little bit too, because the music in this is amazing. And they come up and they suddenly have a rise to fame, and they really are challenging Huntrix. But Genu, being the lead man basically for Saja Boys, because he kind of started the whole thing, and it's like these stereotypes of the K-pop groups. You have the mysterious one, you have the baby face, you have the hunk, you have the front man, and all that kind of stuff. But it's like very much like, oh, let's follow the like typical stereotypes, but it's kind of fun. We do like it. It's great. But Genu and Rumi, as you would kind of guess, just based off me describing it, they kind of got a little love story going on almost. And that is because Rumi is part demon. That's why they start rushing things a little bit. While the rest of Huntrix doesn't know, Rumi is half demon. Her father was a demon, so she has what they call the patterns of what shows a demon in the real world. And if they are trying to hide in disguises, that's what shows them. They kind of got a little love story going on. It's kind of like that enemies to lovers type thing. And Genu's like, I get it. You know, you hate that part of yourself. I hate this part of myself. He doesn't like being a demon, but it's kind of his only way to keep connecting with people, to use his voice. Gima even says, I let you keep your voice, Genu. And so he was a musician in his past, and he just wants to continue doing that. But it's kind of that differences aren't all bad type story, where you learn that Genu is not really a terrible person. I mean, he is. He is a terrible person. He sold his family so that he could live in the palace and be cool and stuff, and sleep on silk sheets and be fed all the time in like 400 years prior. But eventually he kind of redeems himself, and, you know, he sacrifices himself to kind of save everyone. It's that kind of vibe that you would kind of assume from a movie like this. It does have some plot holes, which you kind of look over because, like, the animation's really good, the characters are really fun, and the music's amazing. So you kind of ignore them. But there are a few, like the kind of major ones, that when you think about it a little bit more, you're like, I don't know about that one. That's like, who is Rumi's dad? Like, is it another demon, like someone like Genu, or is it like a theory like, oh, it's Gima, he's the king? You know, we need a sequel to find this out. You have the Saja Boys rise to fame. Like, they just suddenly appear and boom, they are the number 2/1 artist right next to Huntrix, and that makes kind of weird sense. And there's like a scene at the end of the movie where, you know, the Huntrix kind of breaks up for a minute, as you could probably have guessed, and they start getting their insecurities and stuff. And when the Saja Boys are singing their last song, everyone's kind of in this trance, and that includes Mira and Zoe, even though they were kind of chosen to be entirely against demons. So it almost feels like they shouldn't be connected to that. Like, Rumi isn't connected, but maybe it's like because she's already half demon. I don't know. Like, her inner demons are actually her outer demons. Like, she could see it, but it's not inside. You don't know. So, but there's like, they're not really like, oh, it's gonna ruin your experience, but they're definitely there. But the story, mostly pretty good. I like it. I think it's great, and I think it's pretty engaging. But like I said, it's a short kind of movie. It's an hour and a half, and I do wish we maybe got like an extra half hour. I think that would be really good for this movie, where we could maybe get like an extra song, a little bit more character development, maybe for like Mira and Zoe, because they kind of get pushed to the side as more like side characters, and we would like them also, I feel like, as more main characters, like to learn a little bit more about them, because you don't really actually learn why they have their inner demons as much. Like, I would like to know a little bit more about that. So, you know, sequel, spin-off, a series, Sony Animation, okay? Everyone's asking for it, so we gotta get it. Just saying, there's more to this story. So now we have to talk about the music, okay? Because it's literally in the title, K-pop Demon Hunters, okay? The K-pop part, amazing, okay? Heavenly is how I would describe this music. You cannot hate a single song, to be perfectly honest. Seriously, it is just so enjoyable. It's all catchy. Even the slower songs are so nice to listen to. They have really good harmonies and melodies and rhythm to them. Oh, it's just so good. Okay, it's so good. And what I really like, well, there are so many things that I like. I'm going to be completely honest. There's a lot that I like about about the music specifically in this movie. But one thing I really like about it is the music pretty much always matches the scene and choreography perfectly. It's so good. They use some of the visuals to create beats in when they're writing songs, or just in battle sequences and stuff. Even in the non-music scenes, you get some really good rhythm to the scene itself, like the way people walk, the way characters fight or interact. It just feels like there's a rhythm to it, and you can tell that the team behind this, they were passionate about it, and they may not have had music experience specifically, but they know music and they know how to make it visual. It's not just music that is, oh, we want this to be on the top 100 or top 50 hits type thing. Some of it probably could, because it is just that good, but everything is made, and the lyrics and everything, it does have a purpose to it. And I like when movie music is like that. I don't just want them to be like, oh, I'm trying to make a top 10 hit or a top 50s hit. Disney kind of does that, where they're like, oh, this song is gonna hit and it's gonna soar on the charts. And sure, that can be fine, and sometimes it is a good song, but then it kind of loses its meaning a little bit. These songs, while really enjoyable to listen to, they also have a lot of meaning in the context of the story. So their first song, How It's Done, is very much an introduction to what they do as people, and it introduces you as the audience into what they do. You have the song Golden, which is more about them and their struggles, kind of foreshadowing what the story is about. You have Soda Pop by the Saja Boys, that is very much like that pop song kind of vibe. It's meant to be super catchy and addicting, like they are trying to be for the fans. They are trying to be addicting. They want the attention. They want to be, like they said in the song, you got to drink every drop. You got to drink everything that these guys are giving you in order to become addicted to them, so that they can get more power, to steal the fans away from Huntrix. Just like that. It's awesome. Even Takedown, which is a very obvious song, they even say it in the song. It reflects both how they are focused on the demons, but also how Rumi is feeling about herself. They talk about the lies and having to hide secrets, and your patterns are starting to show. And that doesn't just mean the visual patterns, but a pattern of putting up walls, a pattern of protecting yourself, a pattern of I'm trying to think of the word, of pushing people away. I kind of just said a bunch of redundant stuff, but it all kind of adds to it. And she starts to think about that a lot more, and then it's that song that actually causes the breakup of everything, because some demons take the place of Mira and Zoe and kind of make things go a little bit awry. But it's stuff like that that is just so powerful, and I like the visual element and the power of using music to push the story forward. Like the last two songs do it so well. In fact, like they bring everything to a climax for especially the two like main leads stories. You have Your Idol by the Saja Boys, and that really is that vibe of just talking to the fans as well. Like, no one's coming to save you. I should be your idol, the thing you worship, like meaning like to Gima as well. Like they should worship him. They should give up their souls to him. But also he's kind of speaking to Rumi, like no one's coming to save them. I know what you are, that kind of vibe. And potentially he's also speaking to himself as well. He is a manifestation of his own inner demons. He may be speaking to himself in order to try and break out of it. And it could be because of that why he ends up making that kind of almost heroic sacrifice at the very end. And you also have What It Sounds Like, which is a very similar kind of thing. Them getting over their inner demons, challenging them and pushing through it and manifesting it with the real demons, fighting them. And it's just, it's like, this is what freedom sounds like, is basically how it is. But I like everything about the music in this movie. It is just like, it's so hard to describe sometimes because it is just, it hits that little tickle in your brain where you're like, oh, that just hits so right, and you don't always know why. But that is the kind of feeling that I love when music in movies can do. And you usually have to do that with music that is specific for the movie. You can't do that with music like licensed music as well. Sometimes you can, but it's not as easy. You usually have to have it like it is set for the movie, and that usually helps it so much more. But the music in this, fantastic. If you don't want to watch the movie, I don't know how, because I just spoiled all of it before, just listen to the soundtrack. You should have a good time, even if you don't hugely like K-pop. It's more of the second or third gen K-pop kind of sound between like late 2000s to like just before 2020, I think. It's kind of when those eras are. So bands like Blackpink, BTS, Twice, it's those kind of bands that around like when they got started. But the music, amazing, always a good time. So now we kind of have to talk about sort of the rise of Sony Animation, because they're doing awesome with some of their stuff. And I watched a video essay on it kind of a little bit earlier today that I can't help but agree with. And if I can find it, because I should have it, I'll put it in the description if you want to go watch it yourself. This rise of Sony Animation is fascinating. I love that we're seeing that Disney and Pixar aren't the kings of animation anymore. Pixar is still pretty good most of the time. And you know, that's great for them. But Disney always kind of had that we're the best kind of mindset almost. And I don't think they are anymore. And I think that's great because they have seemed to fall into a formula. And it's the studios that aren't doing the formula thing that seem to be doing the best. DreamWorks is kind of being a little weird right now, because of the live action How to Train Your Dragon thing. Go watch my video if you haven't done that. But otherwise, their animation stuff seems to be pretty freaking solid, where they are doing some unique stuff, whether it's How to Train Your Dragon or The Bad Guys or Puss in Boots. They just have some unique stuff. They're getting a little weird right now with like bringing back Shrek 5, and sometimes they have some sort of flops and stuff, but sometimes they got some good stuff. Okay, Illumination kind of falls more into the Disney line where they have a formula and they stick to it. I mean, hey, if it works for them, sure, but it doesn't really push anything further. Sony, while they don't always hit, like their flops, the Emoji Movie and Angry Birds, I didn't mind the first Angry Birds, but the second one, It's whatever. But those movies, they kind of are like, meh, these are kind of dumb. But their other movies are freaking solid. Okay, even their main franchise, you know, the Hotel Transylvania movies. 4 was kind of, didn't really care for that one. But the first 3, I do like the first 3 Hotel Transylvanias. They're pretty good. They're fun movies. I do like them. I like the stories in them. I like the funny comedy bits. The other main, like, really good wins for Sony Imagination that really let them develop their creativity and kind of just let loose with either like the story side or the animation side, just kind of giving the option to their creators to do whatever they want. It'd be movies like Surf's Up, Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs, Spider-Verse, which, funny enough, I didn't even realize Surf's Up was a Sony movie. I knew Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs was, and I love that movie, but I didn't realize Surf's Up was. And I haven't talked about that movie yet on here, and I absolutely have to, because that one's so good. We'll have to do that soon. But anyways, Sony just seems to be kind of letting loose with their movies, where they can kind of just give the freedom to the creators to just kind of do what they want and just go with it and make something stylized or make something unique. Like Surf's Up is not necessarily very unique in its animation style. It's kind of similar, like photorealistic to like Pixar, Pixar or DreamWorks. That has been a pretty common thing, like stylized, but like fairly realistic physics or lighting and stuff like that. But in the story, it's like a mockumentary comedy type thing of a kid that is wanting to be in a surf competition and make something of himself. And that is an interesting premise for an animated movie. You have Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs, a scientist who wants to help his little small island. And then you have Spider-Verse, which obviously we know how that one has gone, that just took the Spider-Man medium and brought it out of a comic book and made it into its own almost physical thing that just looks amazing and has good music and good soundtracks and good character development and everything. And then you have K-pop Demon Hunters, which falls into a similar line, where they just kind of let loose and did what they thought would be, maybe they thought it would just be fun. Maybe they had a lot of passion around the story, the animation, but you can tell when you watch the movie, love was used to make it. It's not just, oh, we need to make money. And sure, that's always going to be the case with movies like this. Really, any movies. They are usually doing it in hopes of making money. But there are situations like this where you can tell that they really cared. And you, as an audience member, care with them. You enjoy watching the movie because you can see the amount of love put into it. That's what I want more of. I love that K-pop Demon Hunters was able to do that. And it feels like a moment of embracing the K-pop culture, of embracing Asian and Korean culture. It's just so unique in the way it tells its story. And I just love it. I think it's fantastic. And like the inspirations that they have from like anime and manga, and like while those are not always Korean things, because that's like obviously what this movie is most inspired on, is like the Korean culture, because that's what K-pop is. It's Korean pop is basically what that stands for. But I just love when they're able to bring in different inspirations from other things. That's why I love the Spider-Verse movies. It's why I love Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs or Surf's Up. They can take inspiration from other forms of film, from other media forms, and just bring them all in to one. And that is what I think they have done fantastically, and what I want to see Sony doing more of, because when they hit, They definitely hit. And so that kind of brings us into our rating of K-pop Demon Hunters. I mean, it's probably not going to be surprising, but if you don't know our Easily Entertained rating scale, from least to best, it goes once is fine, right mood, garbage, once is fine, right mood, quotable, go to, and all day, every day. And like I said, it's not really going to be surprising, even despite some plot holes in the story and stuff. It is a very fun movie. The music just hits. I've been listening to that on repeat. It's the only thing I've really been listening to since I watched the movie. It's going to be an all day, every day for me. If you've seen the movie and you have a different thought, different rating, let me know down in the comments. I'd love to hear your thoughts. But that is it for this episode of Easily Entertained. I hope you enjoyed. I sure enjoyed making it. If you like this video, please like and subscribe so you can be notified of all new episodes when they come out every Tuesday. It's always a pretty good time. And until next time, bye.